Hi, this is John Tunison, CFO of Soluna, and today I'd like to walk you through our third quarter 2024 results and a general business update. But before I start, some legal stuff. The following content is completely qualified by the legal disclosures on the slide that follows this one. Our goal, as always, is to share with you some of our strategic thinking and financial analysis that we're using to guide the growth of our business. And this content is in line with our principles of being accountable and transparent with shareholders. Of course, we operate in a hyperdynamic economic environment. That's really just a fancy way of saying that things can and do often change quickly. What we're telling you here is based on our estimates and assumptions, which are our best guess at this time. We reserve the right to revise our point of view based on new information and changes in the business environment. Despite an uncertain, dynamic environment, we have to plan and make operating and investment decisions. And this presentation lays out some of that for your review. Before I dive into the financials, I'd first like to go through a company overview. Some of this material you may be familiar with, and I think some of it is new, and hopefully all of it is interesting for you. Let me start with the concept of convergence. Convergence in technology circles is really important. It's where most of the key innovations over the last century have come from. When you take two existing technologies or two existing problems or a combination and you put them together, and in doing that, you create something novel, a novel solution, a novel technology, or both. And that's really what we think we're doing at Soluna. We're taking the existing problem that renewable energy has, namely the fact that 40% of the energy, or up to 40% of the energy that could be generated, is simply wasted due to a variety of reasons. And I'll go into that in more detail here in a bit. And you couple it with the fact that there's not enough energy to supply, and there's not enough actual compute to satisfy the ever-hungry needs of AI and Bitcoin. And so when we take these two problems and we put it together with Soluna's ability to go find those renewable power resources that are underutilized and put it together with the growing demand for compute, we call that renewable computing. And that's what Soluna is all about. So we all know that renewable power is not new. It's been around for a while. It's been growing recently very fast. And the projection is that is only going to accelerate to a staggering level of growth. So what does that mean for us? It means that there's going to be an incredible opportunity in the future for Soluna. And there's an incredible opportunity now. 30 to 40% of all renewable energy that could be generated right now often goes unused. This is due to a number of reasons. First, the obvious, the wind sometimes blows when you don't need the energy, and sometimes it doesn't blow when you do, and the sun may or may not shine when you need the energy. The other reality is often renewable projects will be dislocated from major centers of demand, and the grid infrastructure and transmission capabilities may not fully support getting the energy from where it's produced to where it needs to be used. And this is, in a nutshell, the reasons that combine to create this curtailment problem in renewable energy, which is specifically a great opportunity for Soluna. But first, you got to look at what are the possible solutions here. Well, you could go after storage, batteries, but those technologies aren't scalable to the point that they need to be. They're not ready to meaningfully solve the problem. You could build more transmission capability to bring the energy from the renewable power projects to the centers of demand, but that faces a lot of challenges, takes a lot of capital, and quite frankly, will just take too long. But computing is ready now. There's a need right now for more and more data center capabilities, more compute, and we can bring that on site to a renewable power project right now and solve that problem. That's part of the opportunity for Soluna. So obviously, we think that the future of renewable energy really is computing. It's where You bring that computing need, you marry it up with the renewable project, you put it on site, you fully utilize all the wasted energy, you solve the fact that demand and supply are not matched, you mitigate the fact that you don't have all the transmission capability or the ability to upgrade that, and you build a more robust and a more flexible grid in the process. And that's where Soluna's expertise at finding and sourcing that power, and then designing and building data centers behind the meter on site, is really the way of the future to solve this problem. And that's where we get into sustainable computing, and that's what Soluna is all about. So to do that, we've been aggressively building our pipeline. We've communicated over the last couple of years a pipeline that has grown to 1 gigawatt and then to more than 2 gigawatts most recently. And now we'd like to share that we're well over 2.6 gigawatts and growing. And we're excited about that. And these are not just theoretical projects. These are qualified projects where the curtailment problem and the other dynamics of that renewable power project, whether it's wind or solar or other, meet the criteria to need and be able to take advantage of a Soluna data center solution. So how do we focus on the right things as a company? We've talked to you about these 4 areas, but I want to reiterate them. These are our key core corporate focus areas. There's 4 of them. There's launching AI. There's optimizing our projects. There's financing our projects. And there's growing our pipeline. When we talk about launching AI, some of the things that we're working on now is our HPE partnership and bringing on our Soluna GPU as a service business. That's the 512 GPUs that we've secured. And then there's the build out of Helix and future AI data centers. And we think that that's going to bring a repeatable blueprint to bear to the industry in the coming years. Optimizing our projects is really about the projects that we own and operate. So at the moment, that's Sophie and Dorothy. Our teams are out there continuously improving. All you have to do is look at our operating results, and you can see that they're aggressively looking at how to constantly improve the operations, the maintenance, and the characteristics, and squeeze the most operating capability and the highest reliability out of our data centers. And that leads to, and we've received glowing feedback from our customers. The third area, financing projects. We've partnered with companies like Springlane Capital, a great partner for us, and we're in active discussions with a variety of other potential financing partners. And so we're very confident that we can bring our capability, our knowledge, and our ability to do project finance together with great partners that are very aligned and looking for opportunities to invest with us in our data center projects. And that'll just continue and accelerate. And I've talked about our growing pipeline. And, our immediate objective was to double our assets under management, roughly by the end of this year, early next year. And we're on target to do that with Dorothy 2, that's actively being built. And then we'll continue to expand as we go into the future. So why Soluna? Why now? This is a sample of what I think are 6 of the most important things that differentiate Soluna as a data center operator, as a solver of the renewable energy problem. First of all, our team has developed a proven behind-the-meter approach to source the power, and we have a track record of executing against that. And that's not a simple thing to do. And that's something that generates an immense amount of value. And it's a business model that just simply works. We've also got the capability to generate robust and qualified pipeline of the wasted renewable energy projects. And we know how to tap into that and develop that pipeline. We've also done studies, and we can see that when compared to a traditional data center, our data centers are 18% greener than those. And so that makes us absolutely ready to drive and be at the forefront of sustainable AI and high performance compute going forward. Our projects so far to date, these are our Bitcoin projects, are returning their capital in 2.5 years or less, which is an important factor in making our projects great ones to invest in and will make us financially robust in the future. We also have an experienced team. I'll show you pictures of us here in a bit. But across the team, we have deep and true expertise at finding and sourcing power, at developing projects, at understanding and working within energy markets, understanding and working with computing technologies, and in project finance. And then finally, we've developed Maestro OS. This is our proprietary software platform. In a nutshell, it enables us to handle the complexities of operating a data center behind the meter at a renewable power project and gives us a lot of competitive advantages and enables us to truly optimize our operations and our cost of power at those projects. In order to understand how Soluna leverages its core strengths that I just talked about and turns that into robust economics, I think it's important to understand a virtuous cycle that we like to call the Soluna way. It all starts up there at the top where we source low-cost curtailed power from power producers. We then take that and leveraging our capabilities and our proven business model to operate behind the meter, we build, own, and operate modular data centers that have strong financial returns and return their capital quickly. This helps us to attract blue chip, high quality hosting customers, both in the high performance compute or AI space and in Bitcoin. Having these data centers located and operated how they are enables us to provide ancillary services to the grid. And those then combine together to help us both grow our assets under management, but also to deliver year over year robust EBITDA and generate cash and financial returns. And this helps us to then continue to grow our pipeline and invest as we build our business. And then this is a virtuous cycle and continues. So how do we generate revenue? Well, there's 4 ways that we do it. And these 4 ways that we generate revenue, it's important to understand some terminology. Those are what we consider to be our business segments. So our business segments are within the Bitcoin business. There's proprietary Bitcoin mining. This is where we have a JV or own Bitcoin mining machines ourselves and are mining the Bitcoin and selling it daily. Or our hosting. And this is where we host other Bitcoin miners and we provide operations and power and all the other things that you need to run Bitcoin mining operations. And then we also, at our projects, have grid ancillary services. Now, it's important to note that those 3 are blue because they're part of our Soluna digital business. And that is really what we consider to be a subsidiary business, not a business segment. And so you'll see that terminology used. And then our 4th is our high performance computing. And this is both our GPU as a service model, as well as build out of an operation of ADI data centers over the long haul. And that is within our Soluna Cloud business. Here's our team that I referred to. Across this team, you've got a lot of expertise in everything from energy markets, project development and management, project financing, and data center and compute technologies, as well as back office functions and all of the other necessary skills that you need to drive a business like Soluna forward. So now that I've given you a good overview of Soluna as a company, I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into Soluna Cloud. And again, what we refer to as Soluna Cloud really encompasses 2 businesses within it. One is our AI cloud, which is GPU as a service. And those are typically solutions for enterprise. And an example of this is our first AI venture, which is the HPE partnership, where we secured 512 GPUs at a hosted data center. The other part of the Soluna Cloud business is the AI and infrastructure business, which is where we develop hosted infrastructure and co-location solutions within the AI and high performance compute space. And all of this can be done at our 2.6 gigawatt pipeline of projects. So what's unique or interesting about AI? Well, of course, we all know it's growing fast. And just to give you an idea of how fast, and I think we've shown this slide in various presentations, but Over the last couple of decades, technology has continued to increase its pace to the point now where ChatGPT literally grew lightning fast, continues to grow, and the other large language model solutions continue to grow. I think the next line on this is going to talk about enterprise adoption, which we think is going to be an exciting and explosive growth trajectory going forward. So we know that AI is growing, but that also drives an even more insatiable demand for power. The energy demand associated with AI is absolutely exponential. One example is 1 gigawatt hour to train ChatGPT 3, estimated 10 to 20 gigawatt hours to train GPT 4, and it's only accelerating. Each time you see a new model being released, the amount of power needed to do that is rising exponentially. It just means that there's not enough power already, and that problem is getting worse. And that's where Soluna and our ability to unlock wasted energy at renewable power is of such value. So what do you need to understand about AI in general and how it fits within a renewable power located data center? Well, there's really three major steps in the large language model development and use process. And they're really training, where you're developing and building the initial large language model. There's the fine tuning, where you're improving it, testing it, and making it ready for use for inferencing. And then there's the inferencing itself. The first two are very batchable and make them ideally suited to co-located with a renewable power project. So what differentiates Soluna Cloud? Well, first of all, we're powered by renewable energy, which is truly unique in the industry. We're enterprise scalable. We can grow, and we have a lot of power and a lot of capability to put a lot of compute to work. We can offer full turnkey software platforms that are designed for rapid deployment of your Gen AI workloads. We're absolutely accretive to your ESG goals, and we can help you to meet those better than most other solutions. We use wasted energy in our purpose-built data centers, of course. And by doing that, we're actually a very cost-effective solution for getting started with AI. Our energy costs are industry-leading. So now I'd like to pivot into talking about operational highlights. So these are going to be a mix of things that are particularly important to understand how Soluna is doing, both this quarter and year to date. And then I will follow up shortly with the financial highlights. So we operate Soluna looking at a number of different metrics. And I think this slide shows you some of the key ones to understand what we are today and how we're performing today. Of course, we have Project Sophie and Project Dorothy 1A and 1B operating, which are Bitcoin facilities. So you'll see a lot of our metrics are Bitcoin oriented. For example, our current installed hash rate is 2.6 exahash per second. And our average joules per terahash, that's the energy usage per unit of compute in Bitcoin that we have, is less than 26 joules per terahash per second. We have 75 megawatts currently under management, and you'll see here shortly in our pipeline that we're expanding that soon to over 478 megawatts that will be under management in the not too distant future. We've grown our revenues to 29.7 million year to date. That's our highest third quarter year to date revenue number in the company's history. Our average power cost is averaging $30 per megawatt hour, industry leading. We've monetized 87.4 megawatt hours of curtailed energy this year. We've signed the deal with HPE, and our partnership there has 512 GPUs deployed. And as I've already pointed out, our power development pipeline exceeds 2.6 gigawatts. So what have we done in 2024? Well, I think I can talk about some business milestones and project milestones that I think are important. I'll skip over the first bullet. I did join the company, and I'm excited to be here. And that was a position that needed to be filled, and I'm thrilled to be doing it. So we have me as the new CFO. But We've launched our Soluna Cloud business. This was launched with the kickoff of our HPE deal and securing 512 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. And we've raised $25 million in the form of a standby equity purchase agreement with Yorkville Advisors. And we've reduced our convertible notes below $2 million and extended the term to 2025 in January. On the project side, we signed a PPA at Project Kati for a 167 megawatt data center. We've raised $30 million for Project Dorothy 2 and closed that financing and broke ground on that project. And we've also got term sheets signed for power and land at Project Rosa. And we've grown our pipeline, and our AI pipeline also continues to expand. So let's take a deeper look into the pipeline. So the way to look at this is, there's a universe of renewable energy projects. Within that, we do curtailment assessments. This is where we look specifically at the renewable power and grid dynamics and assess where there is curtailed and wasted energy. And so we've got 2.6 gigawatts and growing already in our pipeline that we've identified. Of that, we've moved 1.16 gigawatts into active term sheet negotiations with a number of different power partners, 12 to be specific. And we average about 2 projects per power partner, but there are some power partners where we have multiple, more projects than that. And we've got 403 megawatts of projects that are shovel-ready, PPA, or signed term sheets. Our average data center project is 150 megawatts. So what are our current data center projects? There are more that follow this that are part of our pipeline, but these are the ones that we've announced. Obviously, we're operating Dorothy 1A, 1B, and Sophie. We've broken ground and are constructing Dorothy 2, and I'll give you an update on the next slide about where we're at on that. We're really excited. The picture here at the bottom you can see is our groundbreaking ceremony that we held a couple of months ago. But we've also talked about Grace, which is 2 megawatts of AI hosting and cloud that will be developed near the Dorothy site. We've got Project Kati, 166 megawatts coming up in Texas, as well as Project Rosa, which is 187 megawatts, also in Texas. So let me talk about Project Dorothy 2. Here's some more pictures of it. We have laid the foundations for the first 30 megawatts, and we've actually started going vertical. Our first modular data center buildings are currently in fabrication, and the framing is underway. And we are on track and looking forward to energization during the early part of next year. Soluna Cloud. So we started this business this year. We're still in the startup phase and ramping up. Let me just talk to a couple of the key milestones. So, of course, we raised $13.25 million of financing, and with that, we're able to start the deal with Hewlett-Packard Enterprises to secure the GPUs, and they've been deployed at a Tier 3 facility in Canada. We also hired a sales team to focus on growing our cloud business, and we've been undergoing a number of proof of concept trials in our GPU clusters, and we're also partnered with NVIDIA, and we've been attending a number of different important AI-focused events and conferences where our CEO, John Belizaire, and our Chief Technology Officer, Dip Patel, have presented and met with a number of different partners. And we've also signed Ginger as a financing partner for our customers. And we're looking forward to attending more events and signing and deploying our first customers during fourth quarter. So now let me pivot to the financial highlights, and I'll focus here mostly on Q3 and the year-to-date Q3. So the key points that I think really speak to how Soluna is doing and performing financially are, you look at our revenue, and it's a solid third quarter revenue. It increased by 30% to $7.5 million. And that was compared to 5.8 million 1 year ago during third quarter. And our revenue has continued to grow. And in fact, our year-to-date revenue of 29.7 is higher than it's ever been, and is a 18.8 million or 172% increase over last year's third quarter year-to-date revenue of 10.9 million. And our EBITDA continues to be resilient and robust. So our year-to-date adjusted EBITDA of 3.5 million compares to a loss at the EBITDA level of 4.5 million last year. This is an $8 million increase, which is driven by that continued revenue growth. And it is also despite the Bitcoin halving. And our cash continues to perform robustly. We've generated and built 38% more cash, reaching 8.8 million since the end of last year. I think this slide really speaks volumes to how our business is shaping and growing. This is your quarterly revenues in orange last year, in blue this year, and you can just see that continued ramp from 3 million during first quarter of last year to our current 29.75 million at the end of third quarter. And you look at the year-over-year comparisons, and you can see that sustained growth throughout the period. And how does that translate to EBITDA? You look at last year, every quarter we were losing money at the EBITDA level, whereas this year, and despite the halving, we continue to generate robust EBITDA. In the third quarter, 3.5 million. Remember, I talked to you about segments and I talked to you about businesses. So this gives you a view, and the next slides will also give you a view, and you can see this in our Q. The segments are where we show cryptocurrency mining revenue, data hosting revenue, HPC revenue, and demand response. Those are the four segments that we report. And then you can see going across how we organize our projects between our business subsidiaries of digital and cloud. And so this just shows you how the revenues are performing across those businesses, and the cost of revenues and the gross profits that those are generating. And this shows you Q3 of 2024. And you can see, compared against the next slide, which is the Q3 of 2023, you can see that strong revenue growth compared to last year. Then when you look at the gross profit by quarter, another strong story. As you look, we went from basically zero and loss making last year to now 12.5 million during Q3 and growing. So this concludes the presentation. Of course, you can learn more on our website of solunacomputing.com. And don't forget to engage with us on social media. We look forward to your comments, and we put out a lot of information on all of our channels. Hopefully that's of use and informational to you. And we always look forward to receiving questions, and you can find instructions on how to submit a question to us on our website, and look for our Ask Me Anything or AMA series, where we like to answer questions that investors or potential investors might have. Thank you very much, and have a great day.